Hey everybody, this is Hernan Vasquez. Welcome to Hispanic Marketing Radio. And on this show, what we focus is to give you the tools that you need to reach more Hispanic audience, to expand your business to Hispanic communities, Spanish-speaking communities, whether within the U.S. and pretty much everywhere in the world. I'm your host, Hernan, and on this quick episode, what I want to share with you guys is a couple of tips that you can use right now in your marketing so that you can start reaching out to those Hispanic communities. Now, the reality is that the Hispanic communities in the U.S., specifically in the U.S., this happens all over the place, but specifically in the U.S., are severely underserved. And there's a big opportunity for a lot of companies that want to expand their reach, that want to start generating more sales and more revenue without having to reinvent the wheel, without having to come up with new products, without having to come up with new services. Just by tweaking their current sales processes and by tweaking their current strategy, they can actually start appealing to these big communities, which are becoming bigger actually in the US as we move forward. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to have in mind. The first thing is that Hispanic communities, they behave a little bit different than the average American consumer. While they do have the purchasing power that the average American consumer could have, they also are really rooted in the traditions that they're coming from. And not only that, but there are a lot of little nuances and little differences, cultural differences between the different countries. So people coming from Colombia might see stuff and even speak and talk differently than people coming from Venezuela, for instance. I am originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And the reality is that we tend to speak different and see things differently than people coming from Chile, for instance, right? And that is a couple of nuances. Those are a couple of nuances that most marketers or companies in the U.S. and across the globe, they fail to understand in terms of how to approach those different nuances, those different communities and whatnot. That is number one. And number two, the main thing that I see when it comes to reaching those marketplace, to expanding into those Hispanic communities, is the fact that most companies think that if they translate their content, if they translate their advertisings, like for instance their Facebook ads or their YouTube ads, their Google ads, or even their print advertising, if they translate it to Spanish, then instantly they will be doubling their reach, and that's not necessarily the case. That's why it's really important to work with people that understand the language, understand the community, understand the culture, so that you can actually be more effective with your marketing. Because at that point, if you're just translating your marketing, for the most part, it doesn't make sense. If you're reading it, if you're getting across it online or offline, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But there is a lot of opportunity if you know how to go ahead and leverage it. For instance, I run a lot of Facebook advertising for companies, and there's something called, and this is something that applies to every type of advertising, mostly online. And there's something called a CPM, which is a cost for you to show your ads to 1,000 people on the internet, right? So every time your ads get printed or get shown to your potential customers 1,000 times, that counts towards your CPM, or cost per mil, cost per 1,000 impressions. The reality is that when you're targeting the average American consumer in any type of advertising, specifically Facebook, right, which is one of my expertise, you tend to see that the CPM goes higher and higher and higher. That means that there's a lot of competition. That means that a lot of advertisers are also trying to target the same people that you are targeting. However, when you switch through, targeting a different demographic or targeting a different language and whatnot, screen language, meaning, people have their Facebook platform or their Facebook interface or even their browsers in different languages. When you switch that, and you're still targeting people within the US, right? When you switch that, you will see that your cost per 1,000 impressions, your CPM, tends to go down dramatically. That means that there's a lot less competition in those spaces. That means that your advertising is also cheaper, right? It's more cost effective. So that is just one of the things that allows you to see that those people are grossly underserved, and there's a big opportunity for marketers and entrepreneurs all over the globe to actually start reaching out to those communities, to actually start making good use of their marketing materials. But again, you need to have those two things in mind. Number one, you need to understand the little nuances from different countries, right? There's no one size fits all on that case. And number two, just by translating your content into Spanish, quote unquote, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will be hitting the pain points, hitting the emotions, hitting the nail in the head, if you would, when it comes to your marketing and your advertising. So those are two little tips that will allow you to move forward. If you want me to personally help you and coach you, your team, your company, you're already successful, you already have a lot of placement in English, but you still want to expand to either the Hispanic communities within the US, or you want to expand to Latin America, even Spain, let's talk. You can go to hernanvazquez.com/apply. There's a little form that I'll ask you to fill out, and then if we see that we're a good fit, I'll reach out and we can talk about working together. In the meantime, hope you enjoy your day. Have a great rest of your week. We'll be in touch. Take it easy. Bye-bye.